over to you guys. Who is on this call who uses the observation forms? So have we got any apprentices on the call? Either comment or open your mic up and say, yep, we have. Any apprentices? So if you're an apprentice, how do you use this observation form? Okay, I'm guessing there's no apprentices in the room. What about if you're an activity professional? So if you're an activity professional, how have you used this observation form? So if you wanted to unmute yourself and come on and speak about it, it'd be brilliant. I think there's lots of APs now linking themselves into the box. We've got Matty. Matty, you've put yourself as an activity professional. Do you want to unmute yourself, Matty, and tell us how you use this form? Or when you've used this form? Nope. Okay. We've got Oliver M. You put yourself as an AP. Guys, can you all hear me okay? Is it my speaker? Can you hear me or not? Just say, tell me yeah if you can.
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. I'm just what form are you actually talking about? The form that we fill in for our own observation.
So, yeah, great question. So obviously we're on a call around the extracurricular template observation form. So the whole webinar is linked to how to achieve 100% on an extracurricular observation. So I'm referring to the observation form for extracurricular clubs. Yeah.
Oh, right. I see what you mean. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, so how do you use this form? So, for example, how have you been assessed?
On an extracurricular club?
Yes.
I've never been assessed on a club, like after school club. I've always been assessed in curricular time.
Not a problem at all. What about?
I've never understood. This is a first time match. So I've never understood that actually being, being present in the network, that you can be assessed on clubs and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. So it's a really good point to make. So yeah, we've got an extracurricular observation form as well as a curricular. The extracurricular is just as important.
I've never heard of that.
Okay. Obviously, I'm not familiar with yourself, so I don't know how long you've been involved or what area you work within, but we can pick it up afterwards if you need, and we can support you there if we need to. But this would be a really good call for you to learn how to achieve that. So maybe if you get an observation in the coming future, you'll be able to achieve a high score. Brilliant. What about anybody else? Thanks for that, then. Anybody else? Anyone else hear me? I'm looking at this. Right. Harry Feltham, George Backhurst, either of you there?
I guess we'd use the form kind of to get an idea on what we're being assessed on.
Yeah, brilliant. So as an apprentice, how would you do that? So how would you look at the form? Have you printed it off? Have you looked at it online? What have you done?
Well, when I've been assessed, I've always...
Hello, you there? Have we lost you? I'm not sure if it's my speaker or someone else's, but I can't hear nobody.
No, I think his mic's gone off again.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Hopefully we can build up to people interacting. But okay, let me start. So as an apprentice, so if you're an apprentice within your network, within your franchise business, how I'd recommend you using this form is to, one, print it off and have it in your folders or as a document on hand. And every time you deliver an extracurricular activity, always self-reflect. So a little bit of CPD on yourself afterwards. you don't have to be assessed by someone in the business to be able to improve. So if you've never seen the form before, spend some time, book yourself some time into your diary, a good 20 minutes, half an hour, where you can go through the form, you can understand what is being asked of you and what, as a network, Premier are looking for, to support you to achieve a good percentage and ultimately strive for good, outstanding delivery. As an AP, no doubt you've come across this form many times, whether it's in a breakfast, lunch, or after school setting. And again, you may have had an observation where someone's come along, they've observed your delivery, they've gone through the feedback with yourself, given you some action points, and you've gone away from that. Again, I was hoping people would come on and talk about it, but if not, what I would suggest as an activity professional, once you've been assessed and you had the feedback, whether it's immediately after the club or certainly within 24 hours, you then book some time in to, again, self-reflect, go through the observation form. What did I achieve? That's a really positive way to look at things first. And then what could I do a little bit differently to achieve the points I didn't? Okay. And all the form is looking for is evidence on each section, which I'll go through in a little while. As a team leader, you may have to use this form as a KPI. So if you are looking after 4 or 5 or even more APs or apprentices within your kind of team, so to speak, you may have KPIs around delivery quality, which is a really good way of tracking that with observation scores. You may also need to make sure they've got all their documents on hand. So, for example, as a team leader, you may need to ensure everyone in your team has their register, has their equipment, is wearing their uniform, their ID badge correctly, and simple KPIs to track that and make sure you're improving your standards as a team, as a network within your local franchise. Project leads, so we may have some assessors on the call, those who actually go into schools, complete observations, either announced or unannounced, for both curricular and extracurricular, who will hopefully understand the form and know every kind of question inside out. But actually, there are some questions on there which, do we know what we're really looking for? Do we understand the key points that we're looking to tick that box off? And then lastly, there might be some franchisees or actually a leader of a franchisee business who, again, is looking to understand the form and look, how can we maximize this better within our business to ensure that our standards are improving, our AP is being challenged, but also the quality of delivery across the board is being effective and supporting the school's needs. So, at any point, please unmute yourselves and come on and have a chat. We are due to go to 11 o'clock, but if you just listen to myself for the next 35 minutes, probably not going to be as long. Okay, so let's move on. So there are 4 key sections. Does anyone know what the 4 key sections are of the observation form? So you can either pop the answer in the comments box, or you can unmute yourself and let me know. So there are 4 sections, subheadings to the extracurricular observation form that make the form up. Anyone know what they are? Adrian, any comments in the box yet? Nope. Okay. Anyone there still, guys? Matty, brilliant. So you've been in the company 3 years and you're not sure what this form is, or if you've ever used it. Matty, I will show you this form in a second. It's in some future slides. If you haven't seen it, let me know. We can have a call afterwards and we can really go through it if we need to. But thank you for being so honest. So it's the extracurricular form. It's the form that you, for an after-school club, load of boxes that we can tick off if you've got any evidence. Anyone know one of them? No? Right. Okay. So, Oliver Moultrie, you've been 4 years, never heard of the form. Okay. Thanks, Harry, for your answers. Good stuff. Let's skip forward a couple of slides. We'll come back to it. So this is the form I'm referring to. Okay, the activity professional, the venue, policy procedures, and the delivery. Is that jog a memory, boys, gents? Take silence is golden. And yes. Okay. So the 4 key sections we're looking for. So section 1 is the activity professional. So there's an area dedicated directly to, and as an AP, can we tick off and achieve 100% of that section to know that we are fully prepared for our club? The next one then is the venue, which again is a little bit out of our hands because we are reliant on the facility we're using. However, we are booking the venue. We are asking to deliver in that venue. And as a leader of that session, it's our responsibility to make sure that it is fit for purpose and in line with what we'd like. Policy and procedures, so they're based on kind of premier guidance across the network and have been designed to support us from a legal perspective as well as a quality perspective to make sure we're achieving ultimately the best we can. And then lastly is around the delivery of the actual session itself. Okay, so what are we delivering, how are we delivering it, and are we showcasing an impact from it? So thanks to those who have put some context in the box, much appreciated. So section 1, the activity professional. The weighting for this whole section is worth 26%. And like I said before, it's looking for just a tick box, is a bit of an evidence of that you are kind of showcasing that point. So first one is really simple, punctual prior to session commencing. So have you turned up on time, ready for your session? If I say yes, brilliant. Now, as an assessor, if I was to turn up to your activity, and yes, you may be in the hall or out in the field or out in the playground, ready to start your lesson. But if you haven't got your area set up or your activity ready, and that might be with visual, with your learning square, your safety zone, might be your equipment, football out of the bag, but you're actually sitting there maybe on your phone or reading your lesson plan. There's being there and there's being there ready and punctual. Okay, so I would always advise that once you're in the school, you are setting yourself up, everything is done, you've done everything you can do. So the minute children come out, you are ready to go. Appropriately qualified for delivery. So what do we mean by that? It's not just having a qualification, because actually you could be a level 2 football coach, but not be suitably qualified to deliver football. And what I mean by that is, yes, you have a qualification, but if you're not looking at the right terminology, you're not supporting children's physical development, then you may not be showcasing that, but the qualification may be correct for you. So it's about making sure that you're using your skills that you've learned across the board. Appropriately dressed for delivery, very self-explanatory. Are you in your Premier uniform? Are you wearing it smartly? Are you wearing it correctly? Are you representing the brand in a professional manner? Evidence of planning. Again, there's documents out there for extracurricular planning. Have you planned a session? Is there a focus to it? Is there an objective? Is there a start, a middle, and an end to the session? And is it going to flow and progress both short, medium, and long term? Approachable, enthusiastic. As an AP, we should always be that. We should always look to make the club exciting and fun and kind of a place where the pupils want to come rather than feel they need to come. So again, very self-explanatory. Clear and concise, we've given instructions. And what do I mean by that? Anyone want to unmute themselves and maybe come on and share? What do we mean by clear and concise?
Not saying more than you have to.
Yeah, good. Give me an example if you can.
So if you're kind of displaying an activity to the class, really what you want to sort of say is very basic information, what you're looking for, what you want them to do, and then kind of get them into it as quick as possible.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent stuff. And likewise, if you're having to stop a session mid-flow, it's stopping it for a purpose. If you're having to stop it more than once, maybe your instructions aren't very clear. So you need to look at all that as well. Thanks for that. Cheers, Harry. Harry, looks like me and you are the only ones in the conversation. But hopefully others will feel that they can unmute themselves as well. And go through the rest of the form. So it delivers a fluency and pace. So, like I said, each activity flows into each other. children aren't left waiting, they're not becoming bored or unengaged, and there's a steady pace to the session. Likewise, it's not a rapid pace where we're not allowing everybody to understand it and kind of get to grips with it, and they're getting kind of left behind. Interventions, so similar to what we mentioned with Harry, is stepping in, discussing, progressing, offering some guidance. They are at the right times and are purposeful. You're not just speaking to the children for speak's sake. Likewise, with effective feedback, and also rewarding and emphasizing positive behavior management and good practice. So, you know, yes, we want well dones, but actually we don't just want, for example, Harry, well done. It's Harry, thank you very much for, or well done for speaking on the call. It's really specific, really rewarding to what they've achieved in that session. Okay, so it's got to have a purpose to it. And then the good old fashioned differentiates abilities between ages and sets appropriate tasks. So are we challenging all children at their level? And I know there that is not always achieved, but it can be if we put some thought into it, certainly linking into our planning. Anyone got any questions or anything to add on that? Matty, Oliver, is this form looking more familiar now, or have you still never seen it?
No, it does look a bit more familiar now, mate. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So I think maybe some people call it different things, but as an observation form, you know, can't really call it much else than extracurricular observations. So that's what I refer to it as. But it's good that you're now recognising it more. And like I say, this section of the form is worth 26%. So there's nothing really on there that should trip people up, providing that they are planning and going into their session with a purpose, rather than just turning up, delivering and leaving again, okay? Which isn't really the role of an AP. Excellent, so moving on. We've got the venue. So this section alone is worth 8%. And like I said, at times it can be taken out of our control because obviously we aren't in charge of the actual venue itself. However, we as a lead of the session need to ensure that it is suitable for what we're delivering. So when we say about activity area appropriate, what do you think I might mean by that? How can we ensure the area is appropriate for the activity to take place?
Well, like gymnastics, obviously, you're always going to do indoors.
Yeah, good. So, yeah.
For example.
So we could do, yeah. I have seen it done outside. But, yeah, you're right. Typically, it is an indoor activity.
Yeah.
What else? What else links to an appropriate area?
Making sure your safety zone's out and it's safe for the children to take part.
Yeah, good. So we could outline the safety area. So when we put the safety area out, what are we looking for typically? We're looking for any barriers, any kind of obstacles maybe in our way. So let's say, for example, it's a hot sunny day. Believe it or not, and I'm making this up now, a hot sunny day in December. What do we find in schools in December in their school halls? Typically they have a what?
Stage out.
Staging, Christmas tree, yeah, all this stuff. Now, let's say it's a hot sunny day and we're delivering a football club. Well, actually, could we then take that football club outside because that is a more appropriate area with the weather considered, with the staging and the Christmas tree in the way? And it's about understanding, okay, well, actually, I've got to review this, where we could just turn up and go, do you know what, it's December, I'm indoors, I'll make do with the staging. Well, okay, well, have you done everything to ensure the area is appropriate? So, really simple stuff, I think. Adequate changing arrangements. So, anyone want to share what they think the policy or supporting kind of evidence to make sure that is that? What are adequate and changing toilet arrangements? So, what's Premier's policy on the toilet arrangement? Anyone know? You get the whole class together?
Making sure children go in a pair or are not going on their own.
Yeah, spot on. So it's really simple. The policy is they go in pairs. Okay. As an assessor within a local business and nationally, I've seen probably 100 times, if not more, where the session is mid-flow, little Charlie comes up to the AP and says, I need to go to the toilet. And the coach goes, yep, off you go, no problem at all. Completely forgets the policy and kind of the rules, if you like, around the guidance. Now, okay, there are some, let's say, what's the word? Some times where we can adapt that, because I've seen in some schools, the toilet is directly, there's a door from the hall into the toilet area. So, okay, you don't need someone to hold a hand to go from one door. However, if you happen to walk through the school, up or down some stairs, from the field or the playground into the school, what if that child gets lost? What if that child slips, falls, trips, gets locked in the toilet, whatever? These things could happen. Having that extra person there then allows them to come and ask for help, okay? Or see another member of staff around the school. If you saw a child on their own wandering around, thinking, well, hang on a minute, they shouldn't be, what are you like to do? You like to challenge that. Children at a young age might then get frightened, might then get put off and go, I'm just going back to my activity. They have to go to the toilet. Before you know it, they've had an accident, they wet themselves, and then embarrassment sets in for that child, which is not a nice thing for them, because children will actually pick up on that. And ultimately, there's a way of reducing any kind of embarrassment or risk to that happening. Suitable facilities for the event. So likewise, I've seen it before. There's been maybe a football activity or multi-sports or whatever it might need to be, and it's been on a field where there's been no grass, but loads of stones, kind of like flint. There's kind of not built into the ground, but in the ground, and been uncovered by the lack of soil or grass, whatever you want to call it. Well, obviously that's not a suitable area or facility, because there's a risk of injury, especially that activity. You need to change it and go onto the field, and so on the playground. And then moving on, really simply, the AP is made the school aware of arrival on site. Now, many, many times I turn up for an observation and the AP maybe hasn't signed in, and they turn around and go, well, the school didn't ask me to. Okay, well, it's our responsibility as a professional when we go into a school, whether it's a new school, whether it's a school that we're used to going into, and they know us well, to sign in the signing book. We know the process. It's outlined in everything that we do. Schools, for the first time, will ask you to read a safeguarding policy. They will ask you to sign in, and it's posted all around their office. So if we are not doing that, that's our responsibility to make a difference and change it. And then the last point is the evidence of the school information is up to date on the BMS or school portal. So I know within lots of different franchises, there's different structures and different ways this is done. But ultimately, if you are delivering a gymnastics, tennis, whatever it might be, after school club, breakfast club, so to speak, it's your responsibility to ensure that you've got everything you need. So if you haven't been assigned to that course on the BMS and you can't access the register, well, don't just wait until somebody asks you for it or tries to create an observation on you to go, well, it's not my fault, I've not been assigned on the BMS. Pick up the phone, send an email, ask the question to the lead of your business or to the project lead overseeing the area, to say, I need access because I can't do my job without it. You are putting me at risk if you do not assign me to a course, because I will not be able to have a register. And then if any child was to go missing, I'm then liable. Okay, and it is quite serious because it can happen. So we need to make sure that we're taking full responsibility for our own actions. Again, any points on there that are unachievable or maybe a little bit tricky? So yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down. Heather, thank you for your comments. Yeah, children go in pairs with the toilet card, excellent stuff. Okay, take silence is golden. That, yeah, rightly so. Every point on there is fully achievable. Shouldn't be any hiccups with any of those points. Okay, next one, policy and procedures. So this is outlined from Premier that we need to obviously make sure we're following. Your franchises will also ensure that you're following these with inductions and outline these points very clearly to you. And this whole section is worth 32% in terms of the weighting. So see how we're already blocking it out. We've gone from 8% of the last one with the venue to 32 in here, and all these points are achievable. So clearly defined accident and emergency procedure. What do I mean by that? What I mean by clearly defined accident and emergency procedure.
What you need to do if a child gets hurt.
Yeah, good. So if I ask you that question, you could tell me the answer straight away. But how do I know that's clearly defined?
You've got steps in place, so you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, brilliant. I've seen some really good practice where more north of the country, I went and saw an after-school club, and the AP delivering had a great folder, and it had everything in there. So, for example, it had the list of all the safeguarding leads in the school, all the first aiders. There was a clear structure of, okay, in the event of a fire, I had to do X, Y, and Z. In the event of an incident, serious, for example, like a head injury or maybe a broken bone, I followed this procedure. And actually, that AP has taken lots of time to ensure that we're fully prepared for any event that may happen. Okay. Now, that AP, I would imagine, if anything was to happen, wouldn't be panicking, wouldn't be flustered, because they just follow their procedure. Whereas actually others, I'm not sure that would be the case, but we don't know for definite. Okay, so yeah, thanks for that. Really good answer. Again, evidence of risk assessment shared with participants. So when we talk about a risk assessment, what do we mean by that? I think it was Heather, you put it in the comment box. What do we mean by a risk assessment?
So a risk assessment is you looking at your area or your school and writing down like the possible things that could go wrong. So if a child get hurt, like could that happen in your session? What would you do? You're basically looking at your area and your school and saying, is this the safest place for me to do this session, and what you're going to put in place to make it safe?
Yeah, brilliant. And it might include your session. It might include if you're traveling, let's say, for example, the children meet in a classroom and then they travel to an outside area, any risks along the way, anything that could become a potential risk, you have to document and then put a solution next to it as well. When is that completed? Good practice. When would you complete that process?
Before the activity takes place.
Yeah, so before week one or at week one, maybe get there a little bit earlier. You know, say if you say to the school or if you email or call them and say, hi, I'm David Gould, I'm from Premier, I'm delivering your after school gymnastics club or whatever it needs to be. I've got my first session with you on Wednesday, which I'm really excited about. It's starting at 3:25, as you know. I'd like to get there, if possible, around 2:45, 3 o'clock, obviously if planners allow it, just to complete my risk assessment, which I can give the school a copy of and I can keep in my folder. I cannot ever see a school saying no to that. Again, if anyone has done that and a school challenge that, you know, please let me know. But for me, the impression the school will get from that conversation would be, this AP or this coach is professional. He cares about our school. He cares about our children or she, and wants to ensure that they are in a safe environment to maximise everything they're doing. Brilliant. We need to then keep that, share it with the school, keep a copy in our offices or in our folders, wherever it needs to be. Likewise, if you were then off sick, you might need to share that with whoever was covering you. But then also, we need to complete a visual risk assessment every time we go into that session. Because when you complete that written risk assessment, week 1 or week 5, they may have had a parents' evening the night before, and there may be tables or drinks or bottles left out still. You may tidy up. They might have a school fete and load stuff on the field. These things happen, and we need to make sure we're doing a visual before the session takes place. Okay. If you were then say to the school, let's say you turned up and there was lots of obstacles in your way, actually, can anyone support with maybe tidying this up for me or helping me or even supervising children getting changed so I can make sure the area is suitable because I need to make sure that it's safe. Again, I wouldn't imagine a school saying no to that because you've got best practice to make sure their children kind of start and finish the session in the same way they arrive. Excellent. We've all got their toilet cards. Again, I know lots of franchises use these effectively, which is brilliant. Little cards, keep it in your ID badge. Someone's going to the toilet, challenge, showcase what it is and why you're going. Evidence of your ID badge and your response card. Again, I see lots of people. I'll let you answer this. Where do you think I see lots of people's ID badges? Anyone want to tell me? And the answer is not around their neck all the time.
In pockets, mostly, probably.
Yeah, in their pocket. Brilliant. Not a lot of good in their pocket. Where else do you think? If I challenge anything, go, have you got an ID badge? Where do you think they always tell me they've left it?
In the car.
In the car. So I'm guessing the people who have come on board have been caught out themselves with it in their pocket or in their car. Look, we get it, these things happen. But what I'd always say is you wouldn't leave the car without your T-shirt on. Your ID badge is just as important. Make sure you're looking the part, displaying a professional image of yourself. Okay? The AP manual, I know there's an old copy of this flying around, which is still in place, and I think it's looking to be redeveloped. So hopefully we get shared out as well. Break procedure and operation. I think with that, it's about being clever. It's about being smart. You don't always need a break. However, if you've got children coming up to you every 5 minutes, can I go to the toilet? Or can I have a drink? Or I'm told to put a jumper on. You might need to go, well, actually, let's stop. Let's all get a quick drink and let's all go back together. Likewise, if no one wants a drink and you go, stop, we're having a drink, this might be an ineffective break time if people don't need it. Okay, children dressed appropriately for the activity. What do I mean by that? Anyone know? What do we mean by that?
If you're doing like football, you'd have like football trainers on, especially if you're going on like the field.
Yeah, what else you could do in football must I have on?
Shin pads.
Yeah, brilliant. How many people deliver an after-school club or session in football and don't expect children to wear shin pads? When I was in AP, if they didn't have shin pads, we didn't play a game. But you can appreciate young children will be frustrated. Parents may challenge that, but it's a safety to the child. You know, if a tackle comes in and was to break someone's leg, I know you could argue shin pads won't necessarily stop that, but actually, if someone was to get a nasty tackle, big bruise, big gouge, scraping your leg, shin pads do protect your legs. Okay, there's a reason why the FA insists that they're worn. So yeah, likewise, making sure they're suitably dressed. Okay, correct active professional to child ratio. What is the ratio? Can anyone tell me?
Is it 1 to 15?
Oh, not quite.
1 to 16.
1 to
Imogen,
20.
well done. Imogen was first. She put it in the chat box. It is 1 to 20 for an extracurricular club. Now that does vary depending on some of the sports and also varies between some of the content in terms of when. So for example, holiday clubs, 16, but an after school club is 1 to 20. So if you're ever more than 20, so let's say you've got a really popular club and you've got 21 or 22, even more maybe on the register, it's your responsibility to say to your franchise lead or whoever it is, your line manager, say, look, I've got too many on my list. I'm putting myself at risk because we all know that actually if we're working above the ratio, you are opening yourself up for an incident to happen where you are not in a manageable state to oversee all the children. Okay, so again, if people don't know about it, you've got to communicate. And then you put your flying for the rest of this form. So entertain, supervise during breaks and bedtime. So typically when children get changed, you've got the really keen ones, they get changed super quick and they just sit there and sometimes they're not even spoken to, they're not even engaged with, and they just sit there getting bored. What then happens? They start to misbehave, start running around the room. Head teacher walks past and sees children go in chaos and it looks a mess, okay? So we need to have some opportunities where we can engage and talk to them about their day, talk to them, talk about last week, get an activity started straight away. The minute you're changed, come and join in, start doing X, Y, and Z. The slow changes will get quicker. They want to join in. Evidence of planning for alternate activities. So again, exactly what it says on there. What are you have you got evidence of a plan if you are unable to fulfill what you've already planned? So let's say, for example, you've got a football session outside in the summer, but for whatever reason, that can't go ahead. Whether it's the weather, whether it's the suitable space available, for any reason, that activity can't go ahead. There's nowhere indoors that you can do it. What do you do? Anyone wants to answer? What do you do? You can't go outside for your session. There's nowhere indoors available. What do you do?
I'd go in the classroom and maybe do some educational themed football related stuff with them if that's the last resort. Make sure you're linking it to football, I guess.
Brilliant answer. Great answer. Yeah, spot on. Now, not everyone is able to do that because they haven't maybe been in that environment before. Classrooms or classroom delivery is completely different to external. So have a plan, have a backup. So in the event of my session not being able to run, I am going to do this. I might get them drawing posters, or they might look at creating their own football team based on, I don't know, animals. So who'd be a good goalkeeper, who'd be a good striker, and just get them being creative. There's a plan to it rather than just, I can't do it, I'll just go in the classroom. Okay? Again, the register, so a comprehensive registration process. So ensuring that actually you are interacting with the children during the registration process. It's not just you've done a silent register, you've picked everyone in because you may have missed somebody. All right. Again, if it's a parent-paid activity, the register on the BMS already prints out the details of medical contact numbers and anything you need. So in an event of an emergency, you've got all you need to contact them parents. First aid kit with action report forms, again, really vital. In terms of the grouping of the children, and then likewise with the deregistration. It's not just at the end of the day, off you go, there's your mum, there's your dad, there's your brother, there's your sister, off you go. It's, right, Charlie, who's picking you up today? There's my mum. Right, off you go. Mum, can you just sign and say you pick Charlie up? Cool. Again, 32%. None of that is typically unachievable unless anyone can tell me differently. But it seems really simple, really self-explanatory, and about us all just being organised and prepared. Which then leads on to our last section, the delivery. This section is worth 34%, okay? So I'm not going to go through it. Can any of you maybe pick out a point or one or 2 points out there that you feel maybe unachievable or typically why people don't achieve a tick? Anyone know? Any points on there that may be unachievable or haven't been achieved when you've been assessed yourselves? Or have you all achieved 34% in that section? Nope. Okay, there's no comments coming in. Fun agreement. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay, fun agreement. What do you mean by the fun agreement?
Yeah, I wrote fun agreement in. So
Yeah,
when I got
brilliant.
assessed on after curriculum, because it was like mid-term and I'd already like said the fun agreement at the beginning, like of the term. Yeah, because I said it at the beginning of the term.
Okay.
When they came to assess me, the kids already knew it, so I didn't have to go through it at the beginning, and I didn't refer to it because the behaviour was like okay in my session. That's why
Yeah,
I
brilliant. Well,
did that mark.
well, massive positive to yourself for having good behaviour in the session. Well done for going through the fun agreement at the start of the block of delivery. What I would always advise for good practice is you may have one or two children join mid-program. They may join after week one. And if you've gone through the fun agreement in week one, will they then know about it? Children will always need a repetitive reminder. So I think really good practice is once you've done your register, is to go, right, boys and girls, and have a visual. Again, here is my fun agreement. Can we all quickly remind me of what it states? And it might be a fun task where they go, yeah, boom, boom, boom. They can outline the 4 points to you, which is brilliant. Showcase that they know it still, they understand it. And if you don't need to refer back to it, brilliant. But actually, if the behaviour is really good, could you refer back to it and go, Charlie, well done. You are smashing our fun agreement by having lots of fun and you're showing me that you're learning lots. So we can always refer back to it in a positive, not just in a negative as well. All right. I think the fun agreement, just to touch on it as well, is a really good prompt because it starts off your session. So today, in my session, I want to have lots of fun today because I want to make sure all you guys go home with a brilliant session and that you've learned lots. We're actually going to learn today, and then you can outline your learning outcome, your focus of the session, and what it is you're actually looking for them to take away from it, which you can then use to recap at the end. In terms of respect, we know to respect equipment. We are going to be walking past class 1, 5G, whatever it needs to be, and who have got their music session on. Let's walk past nice and quietly, showcase respect to their club as well. It's just a prompt every time to ensure that. And again, if it's a football session, we've already spoke about that with shin pads. Right, before we go outside, has everyone got their shin pads on? Has everyone got their shoelaces tied up? Everyone ready to go? And again, it's a little prompt, so you might not go through it in much detail, but you use it as a guide. So that may help, Heather. But obviously, without seeing the session you delivered, I don't know. But that's how I would utilise it moving forward. All right, does that help?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. Harry, warm up might not always be related to the activity. Yeah, what do you mean by that? Like, do you want to come on and talk about that, Harry, or?
I think probably from kind of like when I've done extracurricular, sometimes I haven't always linked my warm-ups to the activities. I think probably when I started, I kind of initially it was just a chance just to get everyone kind of active and, you know, stretched and everything. But I kind of think if you're trying to link it, sometimes you kind of got to try and use something that you actually use in the activity rather than just a random warm-up.
Yeah, potentially. I just to answer that in the most honest way, I used to feel sometimes when I was in AP that as long as the children were active, were enjoying it, didn't need to link into my outcome, my session. As an AP, I used to think that. And I used to link that back to an archery test I used to deliver. And then I went on a CPD course once, and someone showed me some really good warm-up games that were games that we play, but they linked them to archery. For example, stuck in the mud. If you get caught by the sticker, we want you to stand in the T position. So again, you're installing that knowledge of the archery terminology, and rather than just standing there with their arms wide open, ready to get a high five, they stood there in the T position with their elbow up high, their arm out straight, so they're holding a bow, and that hand to get a high five. So just linking in some key terminology or using different areas. So you're going to go to the bow, you're going to go to the board, you're going to go to the target, you're going to go to the safety code. Different language just promotes the understanding to all the children. Because again, they all learn differently, whether it's visually, auditory, or kinesthetically. We all learn by different ways. So linking it doesn't have to be complicated. And that massively changed my outlook and my concept of how I can link everything that I deliver back into my warm-ups. Does that help, Harry? Said as yes. Cool. Okay. So the rest of the form, again, it's like I said, is really kind of self-explanatory. 34% available in this one section. So again, nothing major to kind of trip yourselves up. Cheers, Harry, for your comment. Great stuff. Which then leads to the form broken down. So as an apprentice, as an AP, or as somebody looking to track maybe KPIs of your team, 25% of this form is based on admin-related tasks. So a register, a lesson plan, action report forms, medical details, basic documents that you as an AP coach should have to ensure that your session can run effectively. 31% is based on fundamental coaching tasks. So, for example, it talks about appropriate equipment. How many of you have delivered a basketball session, and when you collect the basketballs from a fellow coach, or you've got them out of the school PE cupboard, and the children go to bounce for dribbling, and they don't bounce because they're flat? Not appropriate equipment. So again, have a pump, get there earlier, make sure they are inflated to the right level. It might be setting a focus for the lesson. Today we are looking to learn or achieve X, Y, and Z. So they are basic fundamental of coaching that you need to ensure you have. And then 12% of the form is linked directly to around behavior management. So again, if you've got children who are behaving well, and that's an outline of your expectations and your guidance, you've got all your admin tasks and fundamentals of you as a coach are being achieved. Let's check my maths. We've got them there, 56, 60, 68% should be achieved just like that. Okay, so they're the fundamentals. And then just to kind of finish things off, a quote that I've used a lot if you've been on my slides, but also something I think is really important day to day, is You don't just wake up every day to be average. And if you do, you won't, one, enjoy your day, two, get any satisfaction out of your day, or feel like you've achieved anything. Every day is a new day to learn, a new day to challenge yourself and to strive forward and make big progress. And then kind of, guys, from here to conclude, really, there's kind of 3 simple actions, which, again, if you've been on my webinars before, you've seen this already. 24/7/31. So within 24 hours of today's webinar, what could you do to support yourself achieving 100% on extracurricular form? Within 7 days, what would you have done? Or how would you have done it? Or what would you also look to do? And then again, within 31 days. So within a month from now, take 2 weeks out of that, we've got Easter coming up. So maybe a little bit longer than that. But within a month from now, what can we look to do? So for example, within 24 hours, I may revisit an old observation that has been completed on myself. I may look at the points I achieved to praise myself, but also look at the ones I didn't achieve and think, right, can I create either smart targets or a plan of action to achieve those points? Within 7 days, I may have, if I'm still delivering in schools, and I know at the moment it's tricky, but if I'm still delivering, which ones can I look to tick off myself? So self-reflect, self-evaluate your own performance, your own delivery, and then within 31 days, can we maybe get our line managers or the tutoring assistant within our business to come and complete an after-school observation on ourselves and see if we've made any progress? And then 3 key points. What can you do? How can you do it? And when will you do it by? It's great having a plan, but if your plan has no structure, you won't achieve it. So, guys, based on today's call, interaction, thank you to Harry and a couple of others who have come on board and spoke, Heather as well. But ultimately, the calls are there for you guys. Any questions you have, I'll stay on for the next sort of 5 minutes. If not, then great stuff. The next session